No, actually, what I was thinking was
Hmm.
if they were to divvy out the money and say we have X
Hmm.
amount of dollars for 10 episodes, and I were somewhere in the vicinity of relevant to this conversation, I'd be like, why don't we just make it X amount of dollars and have 15 episodes, And they'd
Yeah.
Yes.
say, because we have to spend X amount per, we're like, do we?
Hmm.
Why, for a
Right.
show like Strange New Worlds,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, I mean, for a show like Lower Decks,
Yeah.
there's not really a way that you can lower costs or raise costs except for like actors. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
for the most part, it's art
Hmm.
department, it's storyboards, it's
Yeah.
all the, it's kind of
Right.
it seems
Yeah.
to me, to my novice brain, like there's not a huge variance in price. And I'm sure the people that work there are saying this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But whatever. I'm used to that. So, but something like Strange New Worlds,
Hmm.
we know that visual effects. We know
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
makeup. We know that actors, sets. Sets
Yeah.
is a big one. You could have an episode that just takes place in one set, like
Yep.
Shuttlepod One, or
Absolutely.
Mhm.
things like that. And I think a lot of us would be happy saying, look, instead of 10 episodes that are $4 million each, why
Yeah.
don't you have 3 episodes that are $4 million each? Get those other seven, cut that cost in half and double them,
Yep.
and then
Mhm.
you got 17 or something like
Yep.
that.
Yep. Do like the last
Yeah.
two episodes are the biggies, like or
Right.
whatever. But just
Good
yeah,
rapper.
like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
so nice. There's
Well,
so many fantastic episodes of Star Trek that just used existing sets. Like
Yes. Yeah.
Well, if
bottle
the story is
episodes.
good, then
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
are not critiquing the way that something
No.
looked, right?
No.
I mean, within reason, right? We don't want
Hmm.
claymation,
We
something
like
don't?
that
Jason and the Argonauts.
well, no, well, that's good. But I was saying like,
Mhm.
something like an elementary kid has done. But, but, we keep hearing all this stuff that's like, oh, we're giving you a more cinematic feel to each
Yeah.
episode, and I'm like, bro, I could care less if I'm being honest.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's a good
Yeah.
question.
Because
So
I
like
had to make sure I was saying that properly. I didn't say I couldn't care less.
You literally just said you get no, I'm just kidding.
Right, right. Because
Just
I mean, we talk about it a lot, but you know, I want, I would rather have more quantity
Mhm.
than super, super duper enhanced quality for each
Mhm.
episode because,
Yeah.
Right.
you know,
Because it's yeah.
you can only look at the set so many times, right?
Right.
Great,
Mhm.
it's shiny, whatever, it's new, but there's
Let me ask you
but
this then, Matt. What about quality in writing? What
Yes,
that
about
is
please.
what about if adding extra episodes means there's a gamble in that rather than 10 well-written episodes out of 10, maybe you have 8 well-written ones out of 16. Would you be like, I'll take more Star Trek no matter how good or bad it is?
yeah.
Or would you rather have just 10 great episodes?
Well, I think that with the limited number of episodes, I think that there is some truncation in the stories that they want to tell. And I think that
Mhm.
sometimes we end up getting stories that don't fully flesh themselves out.
Mhm.
And so with more episodes, maybe they can do more with it. Now, on the flip side of that, I don't want a paper thin story stretched out over 10,
No
15
way.
episodes, is which I
No.
sometimes I I'm sorry, but I feel like there's a certain show that we've had that I won't name, but I feel like they used to do that by taking a very thin story and stretching it out all season long, and so you had some very boring episodes that
Mm.
nothing went anywhere. So
They
I
never
I would
really asked
hope,
questions in those stories.
yeah, yeah, I would hope if you went into it knowing
Mm.
we're going to have more time, that you would, as a writer, the challenge then would be, okay, what do we do with that more time? Do we take these characters, do we develop them further? Do we take this concept here and we can focus on this for 2 episodes, but now we have all these other episodes to do stuff with whatever else that we had planned for the season.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I'd rather see more 2-parter. I want to see more 2-parters, maybe even a 3-parter versus
Prodigy hooked that up.
yeah,
Yeah.
than a
Yes.
10-parter. I mean,
Yeah.
Prodigy season 2 to me is a prime example of a smart way to string together a coherent story
Yeah.
over 20 plus episodes, right? Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's
Yep.
a masterclass right there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
100%.
And we got character development in those stories. We got relationships with the characters in
Mhm.
those stories. We got a story that was engaging and it brought me in. It made
Yeah.
me invested into what was happening with these characters that I'm supposed to care about. I don't necessarily get that from these 10 episode seasons anymore.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because it's basically the same amount of time,
Right.
Right.
but somehow, yeah.
Yeah.
Dave Gregory in the live chat just said Riker nipple, and I'm like, what did I miss? We're clearly talking about Angel One here, I
Mhm.
think.
Yeah.
That's a different Riker maneuver.
Yeah, whatever.
I mean,
Let's
it's,
see what I missed.
really, if you think about it, it's one thing to say like, well, would you rather have like 10 really, really well written episodes or more episodes? But we're not always even necessarily getting 10
Exactly.
like perfect
we're
episodes.
not
Like
getting-
that's just not a
no.
thing, right? So
Right.
like it's not, Star Trek isn't, every episode isn't a 10, and it would be kind of, I don't know, like you want the episodes that you can just sort of like sink into and just be like,
Yeah.
hey, what are they gonna do?
Well, for example,
Mhm.
TNG has one of my favorite episodes in all of Star Trek, and that's Lower Decks.
Mhm.
It's such a wonderful bottle episode,
Yep.
but you get something from every character in
Mhm.
that episode. And at the end, I'm in tears because I'm
Absolutely.
invested in
Mhm.
Cedo Jaxa. The same
Mhm.
with Duet that basically
Yeah.
takes place
Yeah.
in the brig
Yeah.
Yeah.
between Kira and
God, it's so
and
good.
it's
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't need all of these theatrics. I don't need a movie every single time. I want to connect with these people. This is why I'm watching television, not
Yeah.
to watch another explosion or
Mhm.
another lens
Yeah.
flare.
Yeah.
Ooh, I've got magic helmets that appear out of nowhere.
Right.
Sorry.
Well, Lisa, what do you have against lens flares?
Nothing. I love to see a beautifully constructed piece of I don't know. I do love the scenery. I do love the sets of the new
For sure.
Star Trek, but this shouldn't detract from the story. It should
Yeah.
enhance it and help move it along, not be the entree.
Mhm.
Right.
It should
Shouldn't
be the
shouldn't be the
dessert.
draw. Yeah.
Yeah.
The story should be what is satisfying you versus the environment that they're in.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Because if it's
Yes,
a good
right.
story, it doesn't matter where they are.
Thanks for watching that clip. You can find us on the main viewer live every Tuesday night at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern to talk about all of the week's Star Trek news.